all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a discussion video. I haven't done one of these for quite a while because whilst there's been lots of things to talk about recently, there weren't really any that I felt qualified to talk about or like it was suitable for me to talk about. So it's been a while since I've done one of these. However, I saw my lovely friend Brianna from Coffee Books and Bullet Journals do a discussion video on whether or not books need trigger warnings back in May, I think it was, and I'll link it up here and in the description so you can go check it out. It's a really good video. I love Brianna's channel and the content that she puts out in general, but this video in particular really struck me. And I really like the way that she tackled this topic, but it made me want to talk about it here because I haven't talked about it yet, and I feel like it's a topic that's really important to talk about within the book community. So that's what I'm going to do today. So this is like sort of a response to Brianna's video, but not in like an aggressive way. I agree with absolutely everything that she said, and I kind of just want to talk about it on my platform as well. So I don't know if it's really a response video, because to me, if I see somebody doing a response video, it's like usually aggressive and negative, and this is not that video. So if that's what you come for, you can click away. However, if you want to hear my thoughts on this topic, then please stay and chat with me about it in the comments. So for those who might not be aware, a trigger warning is when a review typically will give a warning for something that's in the book that could upset a reader. I always do this on my reviews, although I use the phrase content warning, which you'll obviously have seen as well, is in the title of this video. And the reason I use content warning is because about 6 months ago I saw a few different people talking about trigger/content warnings, and I asked on Twitter if there was a difference and if there was one that was better to use, for want of a better word, than the other. And I had so many people respond to me saying that just seeing the word trigger is enough to trigger them, and so the word content is used instead as a more gentle way of getting across whatever the content is without putting somebody in that kind of panic state. Because I had a few people say to me that just seeing the word trigger or hearing it can automatically put them in that like fight or flight mode where they feel panicky because they're worried that they're about to hear something that's going to upset them. So that's why I use content warning instead of trigger, and that's the word that I will use throughout the rest of this video. So there are a few arguments for and against content warnings. Some people feel like a content warning can be a spoiler, and my response to that is a good content warning will never be a spoiler. So an example of a good content warning to me is content warning: this book contains a rape scene, whereas a spoiler would be in chapter 12 the protagonist is raped by a stranger. That's a spoiler. So to me, the point of content warnings is to give people the control of what they consume, and to me all books should have content warnings on them, and I don't understand why they don't. We have, you know, an age rating system for films and for certain TV shows. Netflix puts content warnings on certain things on their platform, although to me they don't do enough, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You know, certain music is rated a certain age because of the content, so to me it doesn't make any sense when books don't carry content warnings. There's a UK publishing house called Chicken House who are really good at doing this, and they have on the back of their books, this is not a Chicken House book, this is A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I've been filming today. This is a Booktube book, but what Chicken House do is on the back where the barcode is, they will have a little bit about what's in the book, and include any content warnings there. And I feel like I don't understand why all publishing houses don't do this, because to me it is about giving people the control over what they're consuming. So the other argument against content warnings is that it's some sort of like nannyism and people are just being too sensitive and you should just get over it. And to those people I would say, if you don't need content warnings, then that's great for you, but those of us who do can be genuinely damaged by coming across something when we're not expecting it. I personally am really lucky that I very rarely get triggered by books, but if I have been pre-warned that whatever it is is in the book, I can make the decision for myself. I feel like having something creep up on me is not okay, and if there's a content warning on something for something that could trigger me, then it's then up to me to make the decision of, am I going to consume this or not? So an example that I would give is, I absolutely adore the Netflix show Queer Eye. And as I've said, Netflix do put some content warnings on their programs. It's usually in the top corner, I can't remember which side. As it starts, it will say, you know, contains drugs or sexual abuse or something. However, my issue with it is it's very brief. It only appears for a few seconds and then it's gone. And in the description of whatever the program is, I haven't seen any content warnings for anything, and I feel like it should be there as well. Because I was triggered recently by an episode of Queer Eye, which, like I said, is one of my favourite TV shows. I love it with my whole heart, and it's a show that I don't binge watch Queer Eye. I will save it up for when I'm having like a rubbish day and I just need a little bit of like a good for your soul TV, because I feel like that's what it is. However, in the most recent series, I think it was episode 4 or 5, they were helping a woman whose husband is dying of ALS, and one of my biggest triggers is death of a partner. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because it does make me really emotional, but the thought of anything happening to my husband just like immediately puts me, like I feel like I can't breathe properly, and it makes me feel very emotional and very panicky. And that episode really triggered me because they were basically helping her prepare herself for her life after her husband's death. And whilst I think it's great that they help that woman and it's something that should be talked about, and the programme itself was really positive, it should have had a content warning on it. And if I'd known the content before I'd watched the episode, before going into the episode, I probably would have skipped it right now. It's likely that I would have come back to it at some point, but I think I would have skipped that one and gone on to the next episode. So that to me is an example of why content warnings are really, really needed, because it puts the power back in the hands of the consumer to decide whether or not they're going to pick that book up or watch that film or that TV programme and consume that content. So I would liken, like Brianna did in her video, which was a lot more well thought out, because as usual I've not scripted this, I'm just giving you my thoughts. Her video was a lot better, so go and watch that if you haven't already. But she used the analogy which quite a few people use of like allergy warnings on food. So, you know, if something's got peanuts in it and it's got the allergy warning on it, if you're not someone that's allergic to peanuts, that's fine. You can continue to consume that as you would already. But if you are someone who's allergic to peanuts, that would stop you from consuming something that's harmful to you. And I feel like content warnings, that's exactly what they are on, or should be on books. And that is why I will continue to put content warnings on all of my reviews for books. I always do it on my Instagram when I'm posting like written reviews, and then in my wrap-ups or any other videos when I'm talking about books, I will always say if there's a content warning and what that is. And I feel like we as people in the book community have a responsibility to do that, but we also need to be putting pressure on publishers to put them on books and book covers, or on the inside flap or somewhere. We need them. We need them, because there are people who are being damaged by books that don't carry content warnings that when they should have them. And that is the hill that I choose to die on. Content warnings should be everywhere on books, because like I said, you need to put the control back into the hands of the consumer so they can decide whether or not that content is for them. So those are my thoughts on this topic. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts. Please be respectful to me and other people in the comments. This is not the place, you know, I'm not interested in a barrage of abuse. These are my thoughts on this, and I'm very happy to have discussions and debates with people as long as it's respectful. So yeah, leave me your thoughts, go and check out Brianna's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks all, bye!